You can do the transaction on behalf of the client, and the transaction will be done, obviously, with the client being in the know, but all of that is done digitally. So you can initiate a transaction, you don't need the cost, inconvenience of sending someone to the client to reach it. So obviously, as I said, learning, edge is the real edge. Knowledge is the real edge in this business. So we have moved up from the offline to the e-learning perspective. This is what we have launched this week. So you would have programs on Business Easy, which would be on different life skills, technical skills, content, X, Y, Z, all of that. So I think from our perspective, the big picture is there. We all know the industry is going to be at least 2 times in the next 5 years. The customers are going to be at least 2 to 3 times from here. Are we realigning to the reality, and are we scaling up our business efforts to that? That's what is there. This is the last line, and this is something which is, how many of you have seen this movie, right? Kala Patthar. Remember Kala Patthar? Shashi Kapoor and a lot of people. In this movie, this is about a real life story, inspired on there was this Chansala coal mine disaster. This mine got flooded with water with 572 people caught in this thing, and that movie is on that. The only point to remember here is that in this, Shashi Kapoor is the engineer here. He keeps on saying, "Pani yahin par hai," and he keeps on saying, "Abhi dikh nahi raha, jab aayega tab tayar rehna." I think, and no one believes him. He keeps on saying that pani yahin par hai, and finally you all know what happens. And this is, I think, for our industry, investor or AUM yahin par hai. This is the time. Abhi hame tayar rehna hai. That's the point we have to make. Thank you very much. Sorry, I took that 7 minutes which was left by a previous speaker. So.
Thank you, Himanshu. And can I now invite the AMFI chairman, Sandeep Sikka, to kindly come and guide us. I am told he is a man of few words, and he has promised only to take 6.5 minutes, and with the memento and everything put together, 7 minutes. That's what we have been promised. He is the AMFI chairman, and I will also request him to kindly tell us when finally is the MFU coming in, amongst other things.
Good evening, friends. I think it's great to see. I think this conference which started in the morning, everybody is still so active, hall full. I think till now, my experience is normally during the fag end, I think a lot of people get, start moving out. But the fact, I think what Himanshu touched on, pani yahi hai, aane wala hai. I think that clearly shows everybody is getting convinced the mutual fund industry ke achhe din shuru ho gaye hain. Just like markets, everything is unpredictable. While when I came, I was told I had 20 minutes to talk. As I walked in, it was cut down to 5 minutes. As I walked up, it came to 6 minutes. So, but again, for me, it doesn't make too much difference, because I'm going to be talking on the topic that was given to me was, can mutual fund industry overtake insurance industry? For me, I think it's actually very difficult to talk on this topic for 20 minutes because I believe the answer is yes, yes, yes. A lot of times, especially over the last 5 years, and even more after 2009, somehow mutual fund industry and insurance industry has been compared a lot. And when I realized I was given this topic to discuss, for the first time, I also did. I went to Wikipedia. I checked up what is actual formal definition of insurance and what is the definition of investments. So I'll read it out exactly what Wikipedia says so that it becomes very clear. I don't know, is there a comparison or not? So Wikipedia says, insurance is a contract in which an individual receives protection in case of an eventuality or death. Investment is a monetary asset purchased with the idea of capital appreciation till the time you're alive. For me, I think all of you have got bored with this. A lot of presentations coming from Fund Manager India demographics and all. But that is what excites me when you have 50% of the population, so 60 crore people who are below the age of 25. And when I look at this, the 60 crore people have more than 50 plus years to live. I think what they are worried about is capital appreciation rather than their death. And that is what gets me excited about the mutual fund industry. I think there is no comparison. There is no way on earth we can compare mutual fund industry with insurance. Does anybody know when was the first when was the first insurance company established in India? And which one was it? Anyone? Sorry? Which one? Anyone else? The first insurance company in India came in the year 1818, and it was Oriental Insurance. Guys, give me a break. There is an industry which is there for 200 years. And this mutual fund industry is just effectively, it was born after just early 2000, after the tax break came. I think what we are doing, what we have done in the last 10, 15 years is an outstanding thing. And I think we should not get carried away with the big numbers of insurance industry, because I am convinced the mutual fund industry's potential is much more. However, it's important to learn from the insurance industry. I think few things which they have done really well. And for me, the three things which they have done extraordinarily well is they have come out with the most simple product which actually addresses the need of the investor. They have got the distribution right, and they've got the communication right. And for us as mutual fund industry, I believe that these are the three learnings. If we were to get it right, there is no reason why this industry will not be bigger than insurance industry about 20 to 30 years from now. Even if you look at data globally, whether it's US, whether it's UK, a lot of countries, MF industry, or as it is called, their asset management industry, is bigger than the insurance industry. So I think we should, as advisors, stop comparing mutual fund industry with the insurance industry, because I'm convinced, and my conviction comes from the fact that the kind of good work this industry has done, the kind of wealth this industry has generated for investors in a short period of 15 or 20 years, I think is unparalleled. Last 3-4 years were not the best for the mutual fund industry. We saw a lot of difficult times. And I think we have to appreciate one thing. Mutual fund is a new phenomena. Any kind of adoption takes time. So just a wild guess, do you know how many percentage of households in India have adopted the television set by now? Any wild guess? It's only 40%. अगर टीवी के 40% लोगों ने अडॉप्ट करा है तो म्यूचुअल फंड को थोड़ा टाइम तो दो. See, because what happens is, it's not going to happen. Investment behaviors take time to change. When I look at my father, who is a retired government servant, he did not change from his SBI bank to a private sector bank till about 3-4 years back. He did not use an ATM card till 2 years back, because it's a mindset change that has to be done. And I am convinced today, whenever it's going to be about investments, the opportunity is far bigger than insurance, The opportunity actually lies is moving this money from bank deposit to mutual fund industry, and any kind of comparison with the insurance industry is not right. I think out of the 6 minutes given to me, I have 1 minute left, and I'll just say one thing. I think if we as an industry can get, and industry means all stakeholders, if all of us can get our 4 things right, which I call is the R framework. R is not the Reliance framework, is the right framework. If we can come out with the right products, if we can come out, sell these products through the right channel, if we can reach out to these investors with the right products at the right time, and the biggest thing is, as long as we are catering to the right need of the investor, I don't see a reason why this industry, which is 10 lakh crores today, why it will not move towards 50 lakhs or maybe much bigger than insurance industry in less than what if insurance industry has taken 200 years to be what it is in India. Yes, in 1956, LIC was the first, after incorporation of LIC, what LIC has taken, about now 60 years. I think I don't see a reason why mutual fund industry will not be bigger than insurance industry in 20 years from now. I think with that, I'd like to just conclude by saying all of us need to just have faith in this industry. This industry is, even today, the biggest wealth creator for retail investors. And all we need to do is just get this message right, spread the message right, and what before this my earlier speaker said, believe me, पानी तो यही है, सबको ये बस थोड़ा इंतजार करो, and it's just a matter of time. We'll see this industry grow multifold. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. 6 minutes or 60 minutes does not matter. What matters is the content, and Himanshu has done a wonderful job. Thank you, Himanshu. It was a pleasure. And just a moment. I request Bhushan, one of the promoters of Next, to kindly hand over a token of love and affection and for honoring our time to Himanshu. I'm sorry. I missed Himanshu as well, to Sandeep Sikka. And can I also request Himanshu to join in? I'm sorry. I'm making a promise on behalf of Sandeep that he's going to be around and I will be answering all the questions around MF utility as well.
You can understand, the organizers are not giving much time. They are being strict.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ranjit. So are we all ready to go to the 5th gear? The next topic on the panel, which we are going to invite, will be talking about can we grow 10 times in 10 years? So can we please request the panel members to join me on the stage here? Please give it up for Mr. Nimesh Shah, CEO and MD of the second largest asset manager in India, which he joined in 07. He has over 18 years of experience in banking and financial services. Prior to joining ICICI Prudential, Mr. Shah was Senior General Manager at ICICI Bank. At ICICI Group, he has handled many responsibilities, including project finance, corporate banking, and international banking. He's a chartered accountant and was associated with one of the first batches of senior managers selected to lead the foray of ICICI Bank into the international arena. He led ICICI Bank's foray into the Middle Eastern region in Africa. Besides being the big boss at ICICI Prudential, he has done a fabulous job of ensuring that the employees earn their salaries. Please welcome Mr. Milind Barve, Managing Director of HDFC AMC. Earlier, he has been associated with HDFC Limited in the capacity as General Manager, Treasury. Mr. Barve was responsible for the treasury operations at HDFC Limited for 14 years. He headed the responsibility of management of HDFC's treasury portfolio and for raising funds from financial institutions and capital markets. He has also led marketing for retail deposit products and managed investment advisory relationships for Commonwealth Equity Fund, Mutual Fund, and Invesco India Growth Fund. Mr. Barve is a graduate in commerce and an associate member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in India. We have the pleasure of having Mr. Chandresh Nigam with us today. He is the MD and CEO of Axis AMC. He is a mechanical engineer from IIT and PGDM from IIM Calcutta with over 22 years of experience in equity management. His previous experiences include working with TCG Advisory, ICICI Prudential AMC, and Zurich India AMC. My personal experience says that he's one of the most down-to-earth CEOs I have met. Now, my corporate experience is a little rusty, so I don't know whether that still holds as a compliment, but that happens to be a fact. Please put your hands together for Mr. S. Nagnath, President and Chief Investment Officer of DSP BlackRock Investment Managers Private Limited. He has been with them since its inception in 1996, when he was the Chief Investment Officer for 3 years, after which he worked for Credit Suisse Asset Management New York as a portfolio manager for international equities, before rejoining DSP BlackRock Investment Managers Private Limited in 02 as Joint President and Chief Investment Officer. Prior to his initial position at DSP BlackRock Investment Managers, he had worked with HSBC as a portfolio manager and with Merrill Lynch Asset Management and GT Management in Hong Kong. Mr. Nagnath holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Chennai University and a PGDM from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. In a poll conducted by the Asset Magazine in 01, he was ranked as one of the most astute investors in the Asian markets amongst his peers on the US East Coast. Can I request Mr. Nikunj Dalmia to join us as a facilitator for this panel? It will be facilitated by him in this and the next panel. He is the face of ET Now's markets coverage. He anchors the crucial opening hours of equity trading, hosting 2 shows, Trading Calls and First Trades between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. In addition, he hosts the Markets Tomorrow show, a daily wrap that gives viewers in the evening all the info and advice needed to prepare for the next trading day. Nikunj also hosts all ET Now's interview-based shows that focus on financial market participants, the weekly show Market Makers, as well as the special ones such as Crystal Gazing, Double Bill, and Markets Mantra. He also hosts on-ground events for ET Now, including panel discussions, awards, investor camps, and wealth workshop, and is a key part of the team that drives coverage of the Union Budget live as the markets are trading. He has over 14 years of experience in covering stock markets and was the stocks editor of NDTV Profit before he joined ET Now. He has covered some of the biggest financial events over the last decade, including the fall of Enron, the collapse of Lehman Brothers, and the scams and scandals that have riled Indian markets over the course of 2011. Over the years, he has built a reputation for understanding the intricacies of the markets as well as the forces that drive them, and has gained the respect of the market voices that he tracks, as well as the trust of viewers who tune in to his shows. He is extremely well connected with the financial community and has interviewed anyone in Indian markets for ET Now. Wow, quite an elaborate profile. And can I ask you for a favor? Could you donate 5 minutes of your panel time and restrict it to 35 minutes? We are really running late. Thanks.
Just going to tap on the mics, make sure the audio is reaching right at the back. My production is going to clear me, then I'll start in a second. Okay, the audios, I don't think we are very happy with the audio. It's just going to take a minute for us. mic, please, for a second.
I do. It's good. Mine is okay. नहीं इधर ये भी ठीक.
All of them are working. All right, good evening, everyone. We've been talking about millions and billions and lakh of crores. I'm going to give you even a bigger number, which is trillion. Yes, nobody's mentioned trillion the whole day. And the reason why I'm mentioning trillion is because $70 trillion, that is the size of the OEM industry. Sandeep Sikka, aspirations are high, but that is the size of the total AUM industry in the world. And guess what? It is $15 trillion more than 2007. In 2008, the world got a whack. Everyone started mistrusting the word financial markets, but yet the mutual fund industry globally has managed to bounce back. That just tells you the power of the mutual fund industry. So with that $1 trillion number, please etch it in your memory. I'm going to just open the question in front of the panel. The question I think all of us have pretty much highlighted. Can the 10 lakh crore mutual fund industry become 10x in 10 years? You look at the numbers, these numbers, they sound aspirational. But are these numbers achievable? Well, India is a special country. Anything here is achievable. So Nimish, these numbers, they sound aspirational. On paper, 10x, multi-bagger, that's what we always think of. But is it achievable is what I want to know from you.
Somewhere, forget the numbers. I've got a very different take on that. On this business has taught me one thing, let's not worry about the big picture, because if India is to do well, all this will happen. India needs money coming into the capital market. I am more concerned as to what we are doing about it. As companies, as corporates, what we do about it, that is more important rather than speculating what will be the numbers 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. So I think it is more important that if the industry, I'm saying why it won't happen or why it will happen. It will happen if we remain as an industry completely investor-centric. If we are investor-centric, people will make money out of us and money will come in. So it's a question of whether we are, everything that happens in the industry, is it 100% happenings to the final investor's interest? If that happens, things will automatically follow. But I think businesses, both the manufacturers as well as the distributors, will have to do a lot of stuff to ensure that it happens. Because in terms of are we ready for that growth? Since May 16th, I have been asking myself that is my company ready for the kind of growth that we'll see in the next 3 years? I can't see 10 years, but I believe this industry, this world will grow a lot in the next 3 years. I can see it happening. So if it is going to happen in the next 3 years, the kind of growth, I am actually concerned, is my business equipped to handle the growth in the next 3 years? So what we are doing, what are the pillars that will create that growth? My fundamental thing is, we are all about investments. We are not a sales and distribution organization. We are an investment-centric industry, right? The whole focus of the industry should not move to sales and distribution. We should focus more on investments. Products, only those products should come out which are right for the final investor. Because if we get products which are not right for the final investor, a small loss, today we had a trustee meeting where we had this discussion, it is not necessary to capture every upside in the market. To grow a business, to grow an industry, is it better that how do we protect our downside? That the risk management practices that an industry follows or a company follows, especially in the euphoric growth times, are going to be extremely important. Do we have that kind of, when we are saying we are investment centric, have we built an investment? I keep on asking myself, have I built what I see in the next 3 years is that, am I equipped to handle, say as a company, am I equipped to handle 100,000 crores, right? Even if I double from here, right? Am I equipped to handle 100,000 crores of equity AUM? Can I manage that? 100,000 crores of equity. How will we manage that? Are we equipped as a company to handle that? So creating capabilities and capacities in investment, do we have those different kind of fund managers within the same company, right? Somewhere I feel as a mother brand, I should have different styles of investment management in the same company itself, right? The fund managers should differ from each other and differences are good. So you have to have different kinds of product within an AMC, and within that different kind of products, you need to have different styles of fund management. I think those pillars are extremely important on building a business rather than focusing on how much it will happen, because nobody knows how much it will happen. But if we are customer centric, if we are investor centric, it will happen. And if you have got the range of products with different kind of people managing those range of products, it will happen.
You know, I have some specific questions for you. I promise I'll come back to you. But Chandresh, just some thoughts on the opening topic. And the opening topic is that can the mutual fund industry be 10 times in the next 10 years? So before we talk about what we can achieve and where we can go, let's take the clock back and understand where we've come from. Last 10 years, or the last decade, for the mutual fund industry on an aggregate basis has been quite rewarding. The SIP culture has started. Retail investors have understood the meaning of equity. Market share has gone up. So what does the last 10 years tell you that what we can achieve going forward?
Okay. So I think in terms of just saying the potential, can we be there? I think the numbers are all stacking up in our favor. All we have to see is what is the total amount of financial wealth in this country. Every year, what kind of gross financial savings is taking place. We've got 80 lakh crores sitting in deposits. Total household wealth in financial assets should be somewhere in the region of 180 lakhs to 200 lakhs. Over the next 10 years, that figure will double. So I think we are looking at 400 lakh crores of financial savings of investors in this country. And if we are relevant, I think the number which we are looking for is going from 10 lakh crores to 100 lakh crores, which is the 10 times number. It certainly is possible. So the answer is not, the answer to the question that can it happen, the answer is yes. Will it happen? And I think that's where I think I agree completely with Nimesh, is we will have to make it happen. It's not going to happen on its own. There's a lot of work which needs to be done. We need to become more relevant in the lives of our customers. What the last 10 years has certainly shown us is that if we can come out with the right products, give the right incentives, make a difference to people's lives, to their way they look at their financial future, certainly they will come in. We have to move away from a little bit of this transactional nature of business, which unfortunately has percolated down. And when I say percolated down, in a sense, that's the way we've done business. With the result that actually, if you look at it, most people who've experienced our products are probably not that satisfied or happy with us. So if we manage to change that, if we manage to sit along with the investor and say, okay, how this product is going to be useful in your long-term, you hear the word planning and financial planning all over the place. If we can really do that rather than just selling products, I think we will make it happen.
Raghunath, so can it happen? The answer is yes. Will it happen? Again, the industry will have to work towards it. But for it to happen, you obviously need some degree of regulatory support as well. The regulatory framework has to be in place. What do you think needs to be done from the regulation side so that both profitability and the size of the industry could grow?
Before I get to that, let me just say that I echo much of what
Just 1 minute, I think. Would you like to tap on it again?
Hello?
Okay, my sincere apologies. It's just some problem with the mic, I think. We just set it up.
It's very much feasible, growing 10 times in 10 years, and I echo much of what Nimesh and Chandresh have said.
No, they can't hear.
They still can't hear. The mics like markets sometimes gets unpredictable.
Correct. So I was just saying that I completely echo what Nimesh and Chandresh have said. I think it's quite possible for the industry to grow 10 times in 10 years. But one of the key issues that I think Nimesh also pointed out was that you need also the underlying market performance to be in a bullish mode, to be able to generate the kind of returns that investors expect. That will then attract more flows into the industry. So let us spend a minute just examining what those dynamics will look like. And I'm quite confident that as I look out over the next 5 to 10 years, I think our economy is quite capable of growing at least 7% per annum on a GDP basis every year over the next 10 years or so. And it's not that we need to grow at 8 or 9% to say that a new bull market is here. If you are able to deliver around the 7% rate of growth consistently over a 10-year period, the power of compounding will result in a very large economy at the end of 10 years. And if you factor in